Kendall, we are back, man. We have a loaded show, man. It's our first time on a live show in a minute.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's been a long time coming, feel like.
We got Swac postseason awards to talk about. We got Hue Jackson to talk about. We got some snubs to talk about as well, and a little bit of transfer portal news. But make sure you guys stay tuned after this intro. DJ, play it.
Last time that I checked, it was 5 chains on my neck. It was no smut on my rep. Last time that I checked, it was in the set. Make a $250,000, no sweat. Last time that I checked, I'm the streets voice out west. Legendary self-made progress. Last time that I checked, first the money, the respect, and the power come next. Last time that I checked, I've been self-made from the dribble. I was been saying I'm a
You know, man, watching that intro really made me realize we have lost a lot of talent. It's a graduation of the transfer. Man, that's such
man. What I was looking at it, I was like, man, I miss y'all.
Yeah, we got to update the intro. We're gonna get to it. But welcome back, y'all. We are here with another episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, we would like to mention for the first time, this is gonna be our disclaimer to start off every show, Kendall. These comments do not reflect the university in any way. These are our opinions and our opinions only. That being said, Kendall, let's get into the topic, the first topic of the show. Kendall, I want to bring this. Let's talk about this first. The postseason awards just came out.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna read through all these names because, to be honest with you, I don't care. I really don't. It feels good that we have a lot of players on there. That was something that didn't happen often last year. So it shows that we're growing. We're expanding our platform, and we're getting a little bit more love. However, when we start talking about the defensive player of the year, Kendall, you got some things to talk about. You got some graphics made. You got some opinions to share. There were some opinions on Twitter that recently we're going to talk about later. But Kendall, get into it.
I could say a lot. I really could. But I feel like if I show you, it'll be better. So it's going to be a real random, who's who. That's it. I'm going to just show you stats. I ain't going to show you who these stats are. I'm going to show you a who's who. So let's look at it real quick.
Justice for Bubba.
Okay, so player A, right? Player A has 94 total tackles, 55 solos, 11 and a half tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and a pick. This pick was also returned for a touchdown, so that's a pick 6. All right, so that's player A. Player B got 124 total tackles, 56 solos, 17 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. Right? So based on both of those players, obviously both of them are talented players. Based on those players, who would you give your defensive player of the year to based on the stats in front of you, Khalil? Player A or player B?
Kendall, you have to go with player B. I mean, 100. If you're talking about the fact that Kendall, he 124. Let me see something, Kendall. I brought something with me today. I brought my handy dandy calculator.
Brought the calculator? Okay. All right, yeah, because the math need the math.
Cool. So we got 124 minus 94. That's a 30 tackle difference.
That's a 30 tackle difference. Okay, 30. but also, so there's another thing that some people are saying about the assisted tackles to solo ratio, right?
Right.
Okay, so could you do the math real quick for that too?
Right.
Okay, all right, cool.
Oh, I don't know ratios. I thought
No.
I don't. But
I wasn't asking you to do ratios, bro.
Okay, Kendall.
Was 94 minus 55?
94 minus 55? Oh, my fault, man. Each one 39.
Okay, so 39 assisted tackles for player A.
Absolutely.
What's 124 minus 56?
124 minus 56. We got 68.
Okay, 68. So player B has more assisted tackles, right?
Mm-hmm.
But who has more solos?
Player B.
Okay. So Khalil, are you ready to show who these players are, or you got anything else to add before?
I think you would be doing us a disservice if you didn't show.
So on the left side is your defensive player of the year. For those of you who don't know, for those of you who've been living under a rock or whatever, the defensive player of the year is on the left side. 2-time runner-up for defensive player of the year is on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Bubba Adams. So let me know how in. You know what? This is our platform. I'm not trying to cuss on this. I'm a nice Christian man. I don't like to cuss on platforms, so I'm not going to do it. But how in the world do you pick the left before you pick the right? Let me know. Let me know if that makes sense to you.
Kendall, all I'm gonna say is the jersey color.
Look, man. Look.
The jersey color.
Look. What I'm gonna say?
What's the color of the pen in Kendall's hand, y'all?
What I'm gonna say is, Bubba Adams has been one of, if not the biggest contributors to consistently the best defense in the Swac, or at least top 2, top 3. You know, people debate. Okay, cool. But what has been FAMU's bread and butter?
Their offense.
Why has FAMU won the games that they won for the most part?
Their offense. Jeremy Musa, the player of the year.
So you mean and we've watched every game that the Hornets have played this season, the Bama State Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those games do they win without their defense?
We could be sitting at 0-11.
You said 0 and what?
We could be sitting at 0-11, realistically.
So how does he not win DPOY?
I mean, Kendall, like I said yesterday, I will say this about the Swac. They have been over the last 2 years, they have been pretty consistent about the fact that they're going based off the team with the best player, right? Aubrey Miller last year, Jackson State's defense, and obviously Shedeur Sanders. FAMU, Jeremy Musa, and Isaiah Majors. Now, whether that's the right thing to do, this goes back to the debate, the most valuable player versus the best player. That's something we've been arguing in the NBA for years. And I will tell you that if you take Bubba Adams off of this defense, Kendall Mans, this defense drops off. And I put it like this. The worst team in the SWAC this year was UAP Beer Valley, right? One of those two. Pick your poison. If you take Bubba Adams and you drop him on the worst team in the SWAC, do they get better defensively?
Absolutely.
If you take Isaiah Majors and drop him on the worst team in the SWAC, do they get better defensively?
Yep, I think both of them do. Yeah.
But which one is going to be the higher level based off the numbers? So
also putting this into perspective before I answer that question, it's not like we have a terrible defense, because I've seen some people. I don't know where people get this idea from. I've seen some people say we have a terrible defense. So, and I keep saying this. I've said this a couple of times this week because we've been on a couple of other places this week. We keep having this discussion like Bama State's defense hasn't made a lot of the highly touted offenses look pretty pedestrian.
I mean, Kendall,
by their standards.
During that 5-game winning streak, we played 4 teams with the number 1 offense or number 2 offense throughout that whole little streak. They were alternating that week. A&M was having the hottest stretch of their season offensively.
They were blowing people out.
And there were people, we walked to that game, we were like, okay, this is gonna be a little scary game. And they didn't score a touchdown they only scored a touchdown based off of a turnover.
And that's another thing. So you had a lot of people, because I've been trying to keep up with everything that people have been saying. You had a lot of people saying that Grambling game that they had a lot of fumbles.
That was Jackson State.
I saw, but Grambling had a lot of fumbles too, right?
Yeah, fumbles too. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so like, is fumbles not something that a defense causes? And if it's not caused by your defense, then what is it?
I mean, you can only control what you can control as a defense. If the ball comes my way,
exactly. Why is that a knock?
You want me to run away from the ball just because because I didn't force it?
What makes that a knock? Since when do we use fumbles as a knock on how good a defense played?
Right.
And then also, like I said before, Bama State's defense is stacked. When you talk about the players that they have on that defense, You have Andrew Ogletree, you have Mikey Victor, you have Adrian Maddox, and DeMarcus Cunningham. You have all
Hue
of these
Jackson.
different guys. You have all of these different guys on this defense. And Bubba is still showing out to be the best player on the team.
Right.
On that side of the ball. Keyshawn Johnson may have taken the best player, but
and even then, Bubba is still. It's not like Bubba. This and the crazy thing is, Kendall, this was considered a down season for Bubba by some people's standards. Last year was his best season by far. And my thing is, what else can the man do? How many times do you want this man to clear 100 tackles and get over double digit tackles?
He led the FCS in tackles last year.
What else can he do? What else can he do?
I just want to know why he keep getting snubbed. That's all. That's all I want to know. Because okay, I've been hearing some things, and maybe you could, or maybe you or the comments could tell me right or wrong. The Swac doesn't vote on these awards. The SIDs and the coaches do.
SIDs and coaches, right?
Okay, so if that's the case,
come on, Fred.
What are you seeing as an SID or a coach that's telling you that this man is not better than this man?
I mean, if you're a coach, I personally feel like the players should always vote on these awards because, as you saw, the player from A&M, I can't think his name on top of my head right now, the guy who won Returner of the Year, the people who are actually on the field, the ones who are strapping the helmet up and putting the pads on, they should be the ones deciding who's the best player, who's the best team, and so on and so forth. Because the coaches are, I mean, they're scheming, they come with the game plans, but you're not really feeling the hits, you're not feeling the tackles, you're not out there like, really determining who's the best player. Why not let the players vote on it?
Like, I don't know, because I feel like that makes more sense. Because obviously, the coaches and the SIDs, it got to be something more. Because you got to ask, what more can Bubba do?
Or even let the media vote on it.
Like,
that's how they do in the NBA.
I just don't understand how you get to the point where you say this man don't deserve DPOY. Not either one of the years. I just don't get it.
And Kendall, our defense is better, as talented as last year's defense was, Kendall. This defense was better.
Which is crazy because at the beginning of the year, we were saying we didn't know. You lose Keenan Isaac, you lose Ershad Davis. How do you replace those? It's going to be a drop-off. Is the defense going to be able to recover? And they did, and they had the number one offense or the number one defense for a long time. And they ended up with the number two defense. But I do want to remind people, because I think it's very important to say, they had the number two defense only because FAMU didn't allow their opponents to score 2 more points than we did. The point distribution is 159, which is how many points we allowed, and 157, which is how many points FAMU allowed. They allowed 21 touchdowns, we allowed 19. So when we're talking about, okay, this team is ranked up above this team, these are basically the same defenses.
Exactly. I mean, Ken, there's a I want to get this. I'm touch this one question real quick. What part of FAMU's defense is better than ours? I think the only thing that FAMU has on their defense is better than ours is the pass rush. Their front four. That's it. That's it.
And that could very well be true. But which I will say, I wasn't all that impressed with their pass rush on us either. Like, I mean, when we played them.
For a weaker offensive line at the time.
Exactly. That's early on in the season. That's before the 5-game winning streak. That's before all of the stuff that happened during the season. That's still when the O-line, when we weren't looking at the O-line as being as good as they have been. So I struggle to understand how you could firmly say Isaiah Majors, amazing talent. No knock against him. No knock against Aubrey Miller. No knock against Sandiata Anderson. The conversation that we've had before, we brought those guys up in the past. No knock against any of them. They're all talented players. Bubba Adams deserves Defensive Player of the Year.
He's the best.
I said it at the beginning of the year for preseason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying it now. And I said it last year. The man has gotten screwed over twice, and there's no reason for it. I
mean, but Kendall, I don't think this would be as it would feel as personal of a shot if Bubba had won preseason Defensive Player of the Year. Because you went when you voted for Sundiata Anderson, to win preseason defensive player of the year. That was based off of what have we always said, Kendall? Potential.
Which I don't know how you base an award like that off of potential. And you've seen the product of what Bubba can do. He led the FCS in tackles. If there was going to be anybody that took DPOY away from him last year, it would have been an undefeated Jackson State led by Aubrey Miller.
Right.
So if it had to be anybody else but Bubba, okay, cool. Aubrey, you got it. You deserved it. What's the excuse this year?
But Kendall, this is the even crazy thing for me. If Bubba stopped, if these were Bubbles, let's say fam, you had, oh, you know what? Better yet, this is how we're gonna be able to tell. Fam, you got 2 more games left, correct? Potentially. In those 2 games, do you think that Isaiah Majors is going to eclipse Bubba Adams as far as stats?
Do you see how many more tackles he got?
He would have to get 15 tackles every single game, right? In both games. And also along with 6.5 tackles for loss with 2 more sacks and a couple of turnovers.
And that's in 2 extra games.
2 extra games.
Literally,
I pulled up. Kendall, real quick.
What's up?
Imagine what Bubba's stats would be if ASU was still playing and he got 2 extra games. Think about that. You're talking about potentially 140 tackles, maybe based off the trajectory, maybe even 150.
Look, man, this is how you know. This is how you know. I had to change the bottom statistic so that way Isaiah could have something more. He had the pick 6. He had that against us. We saw it live. Great play. This the DPO wide up, bro. I'm sorry.
Kendall, he not even built like Bubba. Look at the dude. He's scrawny. Look at Bubba. That's country strong. That's lifting logs and eating pork and eating beans and eating rice and eating country fried steak. That is Bubba. What is he eating? What is he eating? What y'all eating in Florida? Shrimp?
You're right.
Steak and gravy?
For sure.
Pasta? You know what we eat in Alabama? We eat raccoons off the street, dead. Like Shannon Sharp said.
Oh, you eat raccoons?
No, not
yeah. You might as well tell mama I ain't coming over no more.
Not me.
I ain't know y'all eat raccoons.
Not me. But we do have the
facts. The pick 6 was thrown right to him.
Corn fed.
Oh my god. Oh
my god. You see that? Look, she got a fish in the hand. That's what we do. We go fishing.
Man.
We pick up logs.
Look, this is the last thing I'm gonna say on it. Isaiah Majors is a phenomenal talent. He's a great talent. Bubba Adams had every year that he's played a full season has been that dude. Even before that, he was that dude. He was just injured.
And Kendall, he's still not healthy. He's still not healthy.
And this for real, the last thing I'm gonna say. And for people that say he had a lot of these stats because we had a weak defensive line, Khalil, we had what? 2? Didn't we have like two linemen on
just Traquan Smith on defense?
Okay, so we had Traquan, but we had some guys that could have been on there too.
Right.
We had your Andrew Ogletrees that could have been on there too.
And he didn't start playing until FAMU.
So I don't agree because Bubba is very great at coming downhill. He's a great linebacker downhill. He's a great run stopper. But he also got 17 tackles for loss and 4 sacks. So he can do it on multiple levels. And I just hate the fact that we're penalizing him for circumstances. But I mean, if we're being honest, they do that with everything at this point.
It's truly what you call Bama set against the world. That's what it really feels like sometimes. Because if you're talking about SIDs and head coaches who have played against Bama State, because almost every team in the Swac has played against Bama State at some point. Especially this year because we went to Grambling. I mean, we played Grambling, played Prairie View twice. That you can't tell me that it wasn't a struggle for you to get past number 1 on defense.
I don't know, bro.
But
He got robbed though.
absolutely.
Hold on, no.
Absolutely. But there was another something else I want to talk about, Kendall. We also have potentially two other snubs. Robert McMinn on punt return, correct?
Oh yeah, you got beef with that one. You can speak on that one.
Because I'm not even gonna bring up stats. I'm just gonna bring up what we brought up before. How many times did Bama State win a game because of special teams? Because of Flash flipping the field. Kendall, what did you say when we played Tuskegee? You said this before the game. Flash taking one back on the first play. First play. And what happened? He took it back.
He like that.
First play. I just feel like there's bias against us, and we can never get a fair shot. Like if Bubba can't win an award, what does that say for somebody else? Like, Kendall, I'm devastated. What did Stephen A say? This is preposterous. Let us stray, run amok. Whatever you want to say.
We've been bamboozled.
Hoodwinked, led astray, run amok. I'm disappointed.
You're not wrong though. You're not wrong at all.
I'm disappointed in the Swac office, man. I'm very disappointed. We gotta change the way this is going. Another guy I want to talk about, Kendall, our very own quarterback, Damon Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he should have won the Swac Newcomer of the Year. He may not have started. Both quarterbacks for Texas A&M. Texas Southern quarterback Jace Wilson didn't start the full season because Andrew Body started at the beginning of the season off.
Mm-hmm.
But they from the point they both started around the same time when they made the quarterback change. You can't tell me Damon Stewart didn't make an impact. How many games do we win without Damon Stewart in some of these cases, Kendall?
That's true. That's very true. I mean, his connection with Keyshawn Johnson is one of the biggest reasons why Keyshawn was the best wide receiver in the SWAC.
Absolutely. And yes, we feel like we definitely have Damon still has some things he has to work on. There were some times our offense stalled out, but when we needed to make a play, we needed things to happen. We needed to score in that 5-game winning streak, and we didn't need any turnovers. Damon did what? He got the job done. And Kendall, we finished second in the SWAC East. Second. Texas Southern hasn't won more than 4 games in 8,000 years.
Yeah, it definitely didn't make a lot of sense to me at all. Like, especially when you factor in how many wins they had versus how many wins we had, and who contributed to those wins. Come on,
Kendall, and let's go back to the FAMU victory. Damon Stewart out as far as yardage,
mm-hmm.
he outgained the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year. Now, whether that was for that one play or not, it still happened. Yeah. It happened. He threw for 300 yards. And even against Prairie View, he threw for 300 yards.
One thing I can say about Dame is he always knows how to make the plays to get his stats right. Whether that's and it's on multiple levels. Like you said, he got a lot of stuff to work on. I think even he'll admit that it's just the beginning for him. But when you look at his body of work, you can't necessarily argue with the stats. Now, do those stats always translate into winning? No. But at the same time, look who you got him going up against. That's not a knock on Wilson at all, but it's the truth.
Absolutely. All right, Kendall, that's going to lead us to our next topic. We got to talk about one of your favorite coaches. This was this one was a shocker. Hue Jackson getting replaced. Obviously, there were the rumors going around. How you feeling about Hue Jackson being out at Grambling State University?
I want to give a big shout out to Oscar because he had a interview with Hue. It was a really good interview, and I think they made a mistake, man. I think they made a mistake. I honestly and truthfully feel like they made a mistake. I think it brings up a greater issue that happens in HBCU football. I mean, all football, but especially in the SWAC. You got to give these guys time to build a program back up. You got to give them time to establish a culture. Because if you don't, then what are we doing? You gave the man 2 years, so we can pull this up real quick. You gave the man 2 years. He went 8-14 over those 2 years. But you also got to look at the stats. You know, people talk about him being an offensive guy. So Grambling this year, Grambling had a top 3 offense in the conference for the first time since 2018. They had the second best rushing attack in the Swac and the 6th best passing attack. Now, did they always live up to expectations? No. I think anytime that you get Hue Jackson the same way that they did with Jackson State and Deion Sanders, you get Hue Jackson. Okay, we winning this, we doing that. You got to get a man time to establish something. I mean, if you look at what Grambling was the first year he got there versus what Grambling was the second year he got there,
they improved.
Absolutely, and that's what you want. You want improvement. You want constant improvement. You can't really get constant improvement if you expect them to go from being bad to being a championship level team in a year or in 2 years. You just can't. So, in all honesty, I feel like they let him go too soon. I think Hue, especially listening to him on the interview, he's a great dude. I don't think anybody can really knock his character, but I feel like he is one of those people that he understands that it got to be a system. It was a lot of learning there, and he said that in the interview. It was a lot of learning. It was a learning process. But at the end of the day, I feel like in order for him to do what he needed to do, you got to give him more time. And I hate the fact that they let him go the way that they did.
And based off that interview, like you said, great job to Scotty. That was one of the better interviews. You gave him an opportunity to really go dive deep into his experience at Grambling. One of the things he mentioned that really caught my eye was he said he didn't visit Grambling before he took the job.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think that when you're coming from the NFL, right,
Mm-hmm.
or coming from a Power 5 or having all the connections and experience that you have to understand the culture you're going into, right?
100%. Yeah.
And I don't think you can learn that in 2 years. Kendall, you came from Baltimore, Maryland to Alabama. Mm-hmm. You've been in Alabama for the better part of 4 years, 4.5 years. Do you think that you know the culture completely?
Absolutely not.
That's my point. So you're talking about taking a guy from what the analogy I want to use is you're going from the rags. I mean, from the rags to the riches. Going from NFL to the HBCU, like almost one of the lower levels of. I'm not going to say lower levels of football, but it's a big difference. That's a gap. That is a huge difference. A gap. You're talking about going from resources to okay. I got players here that may not eat tonight. They may not have a meal tonight. They may not have anywhere to go. Their room may be flooded. They may, whatever the situation may be. You know the issues that happen at HBCUs because you've been through them. I've been through them too.
Yeah.
So you can't, the benefit that we have at Alabama State University is Coach Robinson is an alum. He's been in HBCU. The benefit that a lot of HBCUs have is a lot of their coaches have been in HBCUs before, so they know the problems. They know how to fix the problems. They nothing is going to catch them off guard. Mm-hmm. You Hue Jackson, you walking into Grambling and your quarterback tells you this is hypothetical. This didn't happen. You walking in, your quarterback telling you, I don't have anywhere to sleep tonight. I don't have a meal. What? How does that sound? Coming from the NFL, Kendall, you have nutrition plans at NFL, nutrition plans at Power 5, nutrition plans at other places. And he said that's the biggest thing that has to change at HBCUs is having nutrition plans. I think there's other things we'll get to that at some point later, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was shocked when he said that, the nutrition plans, because you really don't hear a lot of people talk about that part. But I feel like, it's a big jump, and I feel like people underestimate that jump. Like another thing that he said in the interview was he didn't necessarily have connects to people, to coaches necessarily that wanted to work at an HBCU, not because it's an HBCU, but because of the money.
They had the money, yeah.
He said, I know NFL guys, I know guys like that. I'm on that level of connections, but a lot of the guys that he hired, he said he didn't really have any relationship with.
And the one guy that he tried to really hire, Art Briles, obviously how that situation happened. Mm-hmm. It didn't work out. Yeah,
so I mean, I think when you're looking at Hue Jackson's situation, I look at it from the lens of, for one, the expectations. Grambling is a historic program. It's a storied program. I understand that, but at the same time, you can't just go from being a subpar team to being back there in 2 years. It's just not possible.
Right.
And I feel like you had Hue Jackson. He's not, and I feel like a lot of people did him a disservice by trying to compare the two. He's not Deion Sanders. Nobody's Deion Sanders. Take Deion out of the equation. This is a coach that has some connections. This is a coach that can make some things happen. He can't do that in 2 years. We've seen it. Most coaches that you have, unless you had a stacked team going in, your first season is going to be successful.
Right.
And then your second season is going to be, okay, we need to show improvement. And then, your third season, okay, now we can start competing and seeing more signs and this and that. But he didn't get that opportunity, and I hate the fact that he didn't. Because based on everything that I saw in that interview, he didn't bash Grambling once. Before he even started talking, he thanked everybody from Grambling. He talked about Grambling.
It wasn't the Ed Reed situation.
It wasn't. I think Grambling lost a good dude. I'm not going to lie to you.
I said that. I think Grambling just lost the best thing that ever happened to them, because he also didn't seem like it was a situation where he was going to get there, win, and then leave. He seemed like he really enjoyed Grambling and enjoyed the experience for all the good and all the negative that came with it. Because you know how HBCU is. There's a lot of negative that come into it, but you wouldn't trade your HBCU experience for anything in the world, because that's what makes you you. I don't want to go to. I wouldn't go to a PWI if I had opportunity. Now, I mean, I'm satisfied with my experience, but I think that that was probably the closest thing they were going to get to their version of a Deion. Mm-hmm. And I think this also this brings up the question, as an HBCU athletic director, right? Do you want to do the hiring another HBCU coach, or do you want to do the thing of hiring the celebrity coach?
So if I'm an AD, I'm really taking a hard look at everything that we've seen in the past, and I'm applying it to this situation. Am I getting you because of the name? Am I getting you because of your ability to coach? Or am I looking at you and I'm saying, okay, you can bring me temporary success. If you can bring me this amount of wins in 2 years, or if you maybe stay for 3, we can make something happen. And then if you leave, I still got my program.
Right.
No, like ultimately, I think you want somebody that's going to buy into your program. Regardless of what happens in the first year, you want somebody that's going to buy into it. Because otherwise, you're going to keep having celebrity coaches, and it's going to be a revolving door.
Mm-hmm.
I heard this at a panel. at NABJ, and they were talking about the whole Deion situation. And it was like, if you hire a Deion type coach, do you want somebody that's going to be a spark, that's going to die out in maybe 3 years?
Right.
Or do you want to hire somebody that can have that longevity in order to propel your program to even bigger heights, or, like we said in Grambling's case, restore your program back to historical levels? And I feel like you got to go with the latter, because as HBCUs, that's how we continue to be good. We're on TV now, like the exposure and everything is good, but at the same time, we can't keep having revolving doors of head coaches, because you got a vision of what you want and he got a vision of what he wants, and it's totally different, but you hired him because of his name and not because of the fact that he's actually buying into it.
And I don't think it's very rare that you get a W.C. Gordon or Eddie Robinson at Grambling that's going to stay in this. They have winning seasons where they win Swac championships, they win Celebration Bowls, and they establish a dominant program. It's very rare you're going to get them to stay there for, 20, 30, 40 years. That's just not how today's microwave society works.
People don't have enough patience.
And especially the HBCU, where it takes time. You can't go to an HBCU and expect to change things in 2 years, 3 years. Some of these things take 20, 30 years to change and really establish a new culture, a new foundation. Because if you're going to make a change, you're going to have you also have to have a lot of favoritism on you. You got to have some luck that you get with the right athletic director, you get with the right assistant, you have the right support staff above you that are supporting you and believe in you and provide you with the same resources. And I don't think that he ever truly had everybody bought in, because from the moment he brought in Art Briles, they were backing off of him.
And another thing I think is very important to kind of put into context.
Hey, Mr. Knox.
What's up, Mr. Knox? Another thing that I think is important to put into context is with the whole Deion situation. Deion knew who his quarterback was going to be from the moment he signed.
Absolutely.
You had a moment where he wasn't eligible or he didn't come in yet, but you still knew that's QB1.
Mm-hmm.
Hue didn't have that opportunity, or Hue didn't have that privilege. So you get Miles his first year. It's his first year starting the whole season. It's his first year actually having an offense that's built and catered around him. And he had his ups and downs, but every quarterback is going to have their ups and downs in that situation.
Right.
So you've proven that you can get a quarterback that is capable, because I'm not going to sit here and say that Miles is not a capable quarterback, because he is.
Mm-hmm.
He had his ups and downs. Okay, cool. But you still, like I showed, you still had a top three offense.
Right. And a freshman running back.
Exactly. You can continue to go up. But it's just like now that you fired not only Hue, but you also got rid of a lot of the coaching staff. Now it's like, okay, where do you go from here?
Right. And I think that it's a situation where, and we were talking about this earlier, and I'm not really trying to get too much off topic, but it's also difficult to keep players at HBCUs when they're so successful. Because, obviously we had Adrian Maddox transfer today. And when you develop a high school player, right, who wasn't a highly touted recruit, didn't have any stars, and you develop them into this dominant force in the conference or at the HBCU level where they're getting notoriety nationwide, it's hard to keep them because you don't have the funding to give them the NIL money that they can potentially get at the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how do I keep you and still maintain my culture? It's very difficult to establish a culture when you have revolving doors.
100%. And I mean, we could talk about that connection a lot. I'm pretty sure that's a conversation we're gonna have again. But yeah, I think overall, if I'm looking at this whole Hue Jackson situation, I think you weren't patient enough and you let the man go too early.
Absolutely, and they definitely had the opportunity to get year 3 is the year that when you really start judging someone. Correct. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion. But to each his own. Best of luck to Hue Jackson. I'm sure he's gonna get another opportunity somewhere.
He was very adamant about coaching again. So
oh yeah, he said he's gonna do it till he dies. So I mean, I'm with him. I think he has all the support, and we know financially he's just fine.
Yeah.
All right, so Kendall, we asked the topic. We asked this on our Twitter the other day. I think I almost forgot the question. Did Grambling get rid of Hue Jackson too soon? Relax, bro. I remembered it. And we got some feedback, right? Got a lot of feedback. And I want to go through each one of the comments that really stood up to us. So here we have Mark Bez, 95 GOAT. How long should an experienced coach with 8 years of FBS and 17 years NFL leadership need to ID personnel and process adjustments needed to instantly change the culture? Attention to detail and consistent execution. Too soon? Not really. His resume calls for consistent results sooner. So all in all, what I took from that was this guy was basically saying that they got rid of him in time. And he feels like there should have been instant success. Mm-hmm. Kendall, how do you feel about this? In the comment section, you let us know how y'all feel about it.
So I think we kind of touched on it already. You got to keep in mind that it's an adjustment. The same way that you got to give players adjustment time, the same way that when we go into the job or the job market and you just start your new job, you got to get adjusted to the environment. You got to get adjusted to the way that things are going, all of that type of stuff. You have to account for that adjustment time. Just because he's a coach and he came from the NFL and this and that doesn't automatically guarantee success right away. That's like saying, okay, you want to take Bill Belichick. He's won 7 Super Bowls. Take Bill Belichick and put him at any of the schools that need help right now.
Mississippi Valley.
I ain't gonna say Valley because they got a coach, bro. Don't disrespect him.
I'm just saying hypothetically.
But put him at Southern.
Texas Southern.
You can put him there too. It don't really matter. He's not. It's not gonna be an overnight thing. It's just not. Especially with somebody that has an established culture, it's gonna take time. And I think you can say he has all of these accolades and everything, cool. But you still gotta get him at time.
Absolutely. I don't like you said, it doesn't Kendall, you could drop LeBron James at Alabama State University right now. Well, let me not say that for basketball. You could drop Tom Brady in Mississippi Valley. They're not gonna win the SWAC championship after the first year.
They're not.
It's just the reality of the situation. That's almost like this comment almost feel like you're discrediting the talent that's in the SWAC and almost disrespecting the coaches that are in the SWAC as well, because like you have great coaches like Willie Simmons, Coach Robinson, obviously, and plenty of other great coaches, Bubba McDowell with Prairie View. You're discrediting them for what they've established at their programs because you think it's just that easy. So,
yeah, ID and personnel. Like, I mean, he brought some people there, but you still can't. That's still not enough time.
Absolutely. Next comment: way too soon. If you're not giving a coach a minimum of 4 years, you're doing the program a grave disservice. Coaches inherit rosters unless you're a startup team. You must give them time to develop their own recruiting class through NFL or graduation.
That's 100% true. And not to keep bringing him up, but if you look at what Deion Sanders did at Colorado, he could afford to tell everybody to leave and get all. I don't remember how many, but it was like 80 something players. Get 80
change the whole roster.
Exactly. You can't just go to no HBCU and say, all right, all of y'all are gone and just get all new people. Not just like that.
Right.
I mean, we saw it with Coach Robinson when he first came. You had some guys transfer out. You had some guys stay and play that last year and then they left. Whether that was graduation or transfer or whatever, NFL draft, whatever. But he didn't just say, all right, all of y'all are gone. Plus, you got to also think about it. You need time to ID a player. You can't just go from NFL rosters, NFL players to down here or to college level players or high school players and just ID them just like that.
Right.
At least not all of them. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you can notice special talent and everything, but it's also about getting them into that or getting them adjusted to the college game, getting them adjusted to how things work in college.
Right. And I think this upcoming year was going to be their best recruiting class that he's had since he's been there. So, I'm sure all those players will be decommitting soon. People are looking at the timeline 2 years but don't know the actual fact of what was going on within the program. Firing a coach after 2 years of building under the most scenarios is too soon. Under the situation, unfortunately, it needed to be done. I mean, we don't know all the facts of what was going on behind the scenes or what was going on in front of the camera. But I do know that I think that the SWAC was spoiled by Deion, Kendall. I think we were spoiled by the microwave success that he had. Obviously, he didn't win a Celebration Bowl, but he did dominate the SWAC for the better part of 2 years. Yeah. And it spoiled what a lot of athletic programs in the SWAC, because now everybody thinks that just because you go get this celebrity coach, like I said earlier, you're going to get this instant success. Kendall, I don't think Ed Reed, if he would have been the Bethune-Cookman this year, would have won a SWAC championship. I don't even know if they have a winning season.
I mean, like you have a name, you have connections. You might have better success getting somebody drafted. You might have better success getting more, NFL scouts to come to your practices and things like that. That may be something that can be more automatic. But other than that, everything else is going to take more time. Like you said, it's not a microwavable process. Like, it's going to take time.
Absolutely. Last 2 questions we got coming up here. What responses? It's hard to say. Maybe they did, but I would be lying if I said I thought much improvement was going to take place after they picked up that 3rd year.
There's no guarantee of that. If you were to ask, if I was being truthful, if you were to ask me, did I think that we were going to go on a 5-game winning streak, that Bama State was going to go on a 5-game winning streak this season, I would have told you no. Based on how we played last season, I would have told you no. You never know what Grambling would have did with Hue Jackson still leading that team next year. You never know. We talked about the recruiting class too. You never know what could have happened. But now it's just a what if.
Absolutely. And my thing is this: you paid a man to go away you paid the man to go away just to go bring somebody else in who's going to have to go through the same process. So now
Exactly.
you're setting yourself back even more years than what you originally had when you could have had potentially a winning season next year. It doesn't mean you win a SWAC championship, but okay, the first step to changing your culture is establishing a winning season. You saw that with Coach Robinson last year, 6-5. Now we're what, 7-4. Now next year you're looking for another winning season. You're looking to at least be in that SWAC championship. So kind of counterproductive to me.
Definitely.
All right, last one here. Jay the Wakandan. Way too soon made an emotional decision that wasn't in the long-term best interest of the kids, program, or school. Like I just said, I mean, it was very counterproductive, and you're putting yourself back not only financially because you're gonna have to pay the next coach the same thing that you pay Hue Jackson, and you gotta finish paying Hue Jackson the rest of his contract out. Because I still think it's crazy that you didn't allow him to finish his contract.
So we going. I'm gonna have an analogy for you. So when you in a relationship, right?
Oh,
Y'all get
Lord.
into an argument, y'all beefing or whatever. You don't just most of the time, what do they tell you? You don't make an emotional decision because you're gonna regret it.
Absolutely.
You don't get caught up in your emotions, y'all shouting back and forth, and next thing you know, hey, we breaking up, we done, it's over. In the movies, that's when everything stopped. You see the person reaction, and then you like, bro, did I just say that?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that's going to happen. Like you going to see them. Grass may not be greener on the other side. And if that's the case, you want your old thing back. You want that ex back.
He's
You
not
try to pick up the phone. It's not going to work no more.
Kendall, I don't know if you caught the end of the interview when Scotty asked him did he want to he coached at another HBCU. It was a very much of a beat around. It was an X, Y, all the answers were all over the place. He said everything but what the answer was required to be. He didn't answer the question. I don't think he's going to consider going back to HBCU for a multitude of reasons. And I think, like you said, like I said, I think Grambling made a huge mistake, and you will be rebuilding. Because Kendall, if I'm Miles Crawley now, right? I just left ASU to come here.
Mm-hmm.
I asked this last night. Is he transferring? Do I want to stay for a new coach that probably could replace me next year?
I mean, I think in Miles' situation in particular, it's kind of a slippery slope,
Right.
Because you do got a lot of different variables there. But it's not every player has that same situation. It's a lot of different situations on that team. So, I think it's one of those things where you expect the worst and hopefully it's not as bad as you expect at this point, because you could see a mass exodus. You could see key players that were big contributors on your team last year leave, and then now you got to rebuild from scratch again. So, it really just depends.
Absolutely. Well, Kendall, that's all we got for the show. You got anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, you want to look at any of the comments?
Yeah, we might as well, because it's kind of short for us.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Justice for Bubba, screaming from the Most High. No justice, no peace.
Yeah, I'm on the Swac head for that one. I ain't gonna lie.
Right. Kendall Kelly Minutes. What's up, y'all? We gotta do a show. We gotta get that's them Swagging the Fool and Blue. We gotta do another show.
I need a different name. Kendall Keller. I'm not feeling it.
That mean I'm gonna fire him.
Facts. And that ain't gonna happen. I refuse.
Damon Stewart should have been a newcomer of the year. They're going to use the better record logic. That's a fact, especially based off what I said, that them being kind of consistent all over. The team with the best record usually gets the most awards.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure because we have a first team linebacker and we still not good.
I think he said something about that later on.
Okay. Mikey Victor should have been first team. Andrew Ogletree was robbed. Well, the thing about Andrew Ogletree is Andrew didn't start playing until like the fourth game of the season, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was
third. Yes. Yeah. But he for sure didn't start the season off. So that probably factored into it into some way. But he's definitely a all SWAC player, and I expect to see him play on the next level on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers overall, like Bubba, so you may be right there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Right. I mean, it's almost like pick your poison. We're obviously going to be a little bit more biased because we're ASU. We've seen the defense all like 25-8. But I mean, it's pick your poison. I think those are two. We have two really good defenses on our hands at FAMU and ASU. But I mean, it's any given Sunday. You can pick any defense.
I mean, I broke it down. Like, yeah, they may be first on top of the actual statistics, but it's not that far away. I mean, they allowed two more, or they didn't allow 2 more points than we did, but they allowed more touchdowns than we did by 2. So like, it's really up and down.
We love you, Bubba. The wild card loves you. Nobody else loves you. We love you.
Facts. Hey, man.
Make sure y'all like the stream, like, comment, subscribe for sure. Share it as well.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. Definitely appreciate y'all rocking with us.
That's a great point.
And you know what's crazy? I bet you it still wouldn't have mattered.
Probably not.
I bet you it still wouldn't have mattered.
I mean, but someone also made the argument that the reason that Bubba dominated the statistical category was because our defense was on the field more. He can't control that.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. There are variables that you can't control, and they should not be put against him when his stats are that much better.
Right.
I'm sorry. It just shouldn't be.
If the stats were close and neck, I mean, you make an argument, but when he's clearing you about 30 tackles on the dot, what are we talking about here? The only consistent thing for the Swac has been ignoring Bubba and Beck. She's not lying. He's not lying. You
can add a coach's rotation too on that.
That's one crazy thing I dislike about the Swac, Kendall. We wrote, like you said last night, we rotated a lot of coaches, and I just don't you want to look something fresh in there, you know? You can't keep putting the same numbers in the equation and expect a different result.
Facts.
I wish.
Yeah, I wish.
I think he has an older brother, though, if I'm not mistaken.
He definitely got a brother. I don't know whether he's older or younger.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What's up?
Oh, how you doing? TSU QB started 10 games with both of them. I mean, like I was just saying, whatever criteria you're going to pick to judge these players off these awards, be consistent all around. That's all I ask. I can live with consistency.
Mm-hmm. You ain't lying about that.
We're not discrediting Isaiah at all.
For sure.
He's a great player, but Bubba as an individual, because Kendall, I'm sure we can agree on this. FAMU probably has more talent on their defense than us, more big names, because they have more players make the defense team.
Yeah, they do.
That's no shot against our defense because our defense is great. We play great as a collective, but Bubba is realistically doing more with less when you compare it to FAMU.
And I said that. I said the opposite. I said we had a very talented defense. And
we do.
Yeah. But I mean, both of those can be true though. Depending on who's looking at the team, both of those can be true. And yeah, like I said that earlier too. No discredit to Isaiah at all. I think same way I said about Aubrey. I think if anybody was to come second, I could see Isaiah. There's a couple other guys that I could see their names be thrown in the hat, but you know.
Still got to cut down the turnovers. He got better at it as the season went on.
Yeah, because at first he was a little shaky, but I think that's circumstantial. I think even he would admit that he wasn't taking care of the ball the way that he was at the end of the season. So,
right, things like that take time as a quarterback.
100%.
It's a great point.
And that was his first full game starting, by the way.
We always go center for our people, man.
Absolutely. Bubba supremacy.
And Bubba supports us.
Facts. I'm going to miss Bubba, man. Dang.
We going to miss Bubba. This is a good point.
He did. He definitely did. That's the same thing with MVP in NFL. I feel like they always gonna get that to a quarterback because
But Darius
the
Owens.
it was a yeah. Darius Owens he had a good case for that too. So I definitely think that's a quarterback award unless you do something insane.
Yeah, and Keyshawn, it probably would take like almost 2,000 receiving yards for him to get that award.
Mhm.
And we don't have a 2,000 receiving yard offense.
We don't even have a 2,000 receiving yard scheme.
Yeah,
Like our offense not even set up to throw the ball that much.
exactly. I mean, you're rebuilding again, depending on how many players hit this portal. Because I think the transfer portal opens up Saturday or closes, one of those two. But
I can't verify it. I don't know.
I saw it on Twitter. Like he said, I can't verify it, but it's open right now. People are hitting the portal right now.
I hope not. I mean, I think that more depends on who y'all hire as your coach.
Ken, what you think about this? There were some people, me and my boss were talking. We were like, maybe we should bring in Hue Jackson as our offense coordinator. I think but I'm gonna be honest. I think that him being a coordinator is beneath him in the HBCU realm, at least.
I mean, if you could get a head coaching job somewhere else, he sounds like he would rather be a head coach than a coordinator. So, I mean, I think you got to factor in exactly what he wants too.
Right. And I don't think he's gonna be an OC at the HBCU. Maybe at a Power 5 or maybe another lower level FBS school. But for a Super Bowl champion to settle for an offensive coordinator job at the HBCU, I think that's kind of beneath his skill set.
Plus, you would be getting paid less too.
Exactly. Nutrition is very important. Nutrition is definitely. I never thought about nutrition as being a X factor in changing an HBCU program. I don't know about you, Kendall.
I mean, I can see how nutrition makes a difference. Because I remember when I was in prep school, we played against Navy. We pretty much did it on an empty stomach. And it was still a game, but once it got down to like the wire, I don't think we had enough in us. So I mean, nutrition definitely makes a difference. I think when you got athletes, working 24/7, putting in the work, and it's all about what they put in their bodies. I could definitely agree with that for sure. Especially, you got to think about calf hours too. Like,
Right.
well, what times can they eat and all of that type of stuff. So yeah, I agree with that.
Because most athletes stay off campus too.
Mm-hmm. I didn't think it would be that serious to the point where he would say something about it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting to me though, for sure.
But we don't know what every school's like. I feel like different schools at HBCUs have different problems. We all have problems, but it's different problems.
Oh yeah. I would obviously some of them are going to be the same, but yeah, some are different than others for sure.
I said I know wants to grow nutrition, but it's not an excuse why we cannot compete. I mean, nutrition is important when you're talking about a player. Like say let's say Kendall right now, Alabama State decides to put Alabama on the schedule next year, right? Mm-hmm. We're not going to be able to compete with them size-wise. Feeding the players is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the trenches, like we talked about before. Yeah.
Right. I read this comment earlier. Everybody's not Dion.
Yeah, facts. I mean, but they said they rushed him out. Yeah, for sure. Because I think you got to think about the history when you think about coaching success. But I think that's unfair, especially now. It was a little bit different. It was a little bit different when you had Coach Robinson and those coaches in the past. It's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. This is a landscape that's kind of hard to navigate as a coach, as a program, as a recruiter, all of that. It's a hard landscape to navigate, and I think you got to include that while you're talking about your criticism. Oh, I saw this.
That's what I meant to say. Everybody's not Dion.
So my question is, what would have been an ideal winning season for you? Like, what would have been an ideal winning year for you? Because I think when we talk about winning years, that's different for everybody. Mm-hmm. Are your expectations that high to the point where you were like, we're going to win a Swac championship this year? or was it we're just gonna have a winning record this year? Like, what exactly were you expecting out of it? That's what I want to know with that comment.
And it almost feels like him being fired was kind of premeditated, especially since they did it so soon after the Bayou Classic. That's just my opinion.
I can see it. They don't. They definitely don't.
Why do you say that?
Because, bro, you got to think, when you talk about resources, that's not just like the field that you play on. That's not just the maybe the coaches that you hire. Bro, that's a lot. It's a lot of different aspects that go into recruiting a player, building up a program. And I don't think HBCUs necessarily, as a whole, as a collective, have enough of those things in order for you to elevate your program that much in 3 years. I just don't, or in 2 years.
Right.
That's like, if that's the cap, then you're not going to reach your expectations.
That's a good point. It's home.
I hope he does. I hope he does.
I think he'll have a good season next year too. We plan on covering as much as we can. It's a little bit of a different time right now for us because this is the first time we actually get a chance to have a break and have time to really produce. If you've noticed, if you've been paying attention, we have recorded almost every single day this week. So this is the most consistent we have been in a long time.
It feel like we doing 2 a days at this point.
Right. So after this, we're gonna take a day or two off. But yeah, we definitely gonna be around for it because National Signing Day comes up soon, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So I think ASU, we already got a couple of recruits coming in right now. I can't wait to see what's going to be different since it's our first time having we have a lot of momentum on our side as a football program right now. So you're winning. So I think that I'm excited for signing day.
I am too.
What are we looking forward to? What game are we looking forward to next season?
Man, I don't even know what the schedule will look like.
I don't know who's playing UAB. That's about it. I'm assuming that's gonna be our money game.
We play UAB.
Yeah.
Oh, they want to play all the different teams when we leave. That's crazy.
I mean, but that's I think the most interesting thing about that game is we have a lot of players from UAB. Damon Stewart.
Facts. That's gonna be a good game, I think.
AJ Gates and they're going based off how some of these players are reacting. They go in there thinking they can go steal one.
Exactly.
So that's what I would say. Other than that, y'all, we appreciate y'all for tuning in this episode as usual. We know it's a kind of late tonight. Got to tune in to Coach Robinson on the HBCU tonight. I can't wait to hear my guy talk. Can't do anything else to say to the people.
Like he said, thank y'all for tuning in. The Twitter question that we did, the question of the day, make sure y'all hop on that. We gonna be typing some stuff. We want to hear from y'all. We want to see exactly what y'all got to say, and definitely want to make some things happen with that.
We probably need to start responding to some of those questions too.
Yeah, probably. You're right. Diddy.
Yeah.
Bubba Adams is crazy. That's hilarious.
Absolutely. But yeah, like Kendall said, we appreciate y'all. Hey man, Swac and the Fool, we gotta do a show with y'all real soon, man. Real soon.
Absolutely.
But appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, Instagram, all the social medias are up right above Kendall's head. I think that's what yeah. So appreciate y'all. Donate to the Cash App. Keep following us. See y'all next time.